Guys, hope you can hear me. Sorry for the delay because I have no power, and now I got the power at 9:10 p.m. So hope you can hear me. Guys, can you hear me? Okay. Niroshani and Thajur, you raise your hands. Do you have any questions? Any questions? Okay. If you have any questions, you can ask me. Hope you guys can hear me, right? Because I don't get any kind of response from you. Let me know if you can see my screen. Right, guys, can you see my screen? Yes or no? Because okay, I guess raised hand means yes, right? Okay, great. Right. So today we are going to do a new lesson, that is work-life management, right? We have completed stress. So today we are going to do a new lesson, that is work-life management. Normally work-life management, we call it work-life balance. So basically work-life management means how well you can balance your work life as well as your personal life, right? So this balance means not a 50-50 balance, right? Balance means not a 50-50 balance. How well you can prioritize things in your life, right? Or මොන වෙලාවටද වගේ ගෙදරට priority එක දෙන්නේ, මොන වෙලාවටද office එකට priority එක දෙන්නේ. So that's about work life management. How well you can give priority to your work and to your private life, right? So basically work-life balance, it involves minimization of work-related stress and establishing of a stable and sustainable way to work while maintaining health and general well-being, right? So how well you can balance your work life and your personal life while maintaining your health and your well-being. So that's basically about work-life balance or work-life management, right? When it comes to the statistics, right, 27% employees plan to leave their current employer within 2 years if work-life balance isn't addressed, right? So that means 27% of employees will leave the organization if they believe that their current employer is not giving them a proper work-life balance. regular හරියට organization එකක් ඇතුලේ work life balance කියන concept එක නැත්නම් they try to leave their current organization. That 27% means it's relatively a big amount, right? And also UK employees work 50 plus hours a week in 1995 and UK employees work 50 plus hours a week down from 1995, right? That means, you know that 27% of employees, they don't try and they don't like to work in their current employer, with their current organization, if they believe that their work-life balance requirements are not met by the organization. So you can understand how important it is to any kind of organization, right? And it is really, really important to the well-being of an employee as well, right? So 68% of workers say poor work-life balance negatively impacts morale and motivation at work, right? 68% of workers say, 68% means it's more than half, right? So it's a big amount. 68% of workers, they say poor work-life balance negatively impacts. So always the work-life balance and the satisfaction levels have a positive kind of relationship, right? If the work-life balance requirements are met, that means the job satisfaction is high. But if the work-life balance requirements are not met, then the work-life balance or the job satisfaction levels are low. So always the work-life balance and the job satisfaction, work-life balance and the job satisfaction have positive relationship. Positive relationship, right? If this is high, this is also high. If this is low, this is also low, right? So it impacts morale and motivation at work. So morale and motivation gets high if the work-life balance is high, but morale and motivation gets low, then there is no work-life balance, right? So now we are going to talk about the definition of work-life balance. So definition is, it's a concept, a proper prioritization between work and lifestyle. So that proper prioritizing, not including a 50-50 balance, right? How well you can prioritize things in your life. So it's a concept including proper prioritizing between work and lifestyle. So that lifestyle means your health, pleasure, leisure, family, and spiritual development. So that is about the divisions of one's time and focus between working and family or leisure activities. So that's the work-life balance, right? How well a person can prioritize things in life and how well they can give a proper priority when there is a requirement in work and if there is a requirement at home. So there are 5 productivity hacks for better work-life balance. 5 productivity hacks. First one is, if you want to maintain a good work-life balance, first of all, you have to prioritize professional and personal non-negotiable. Professional and personal non-negotiable, right? Who is this? So am I fast for you guys? So can't you like text in chat? Oh, I can't see anything. Just like I'm not the one who disables chat, so I don't know the way to enable it. Right, so can you guys just erase it, because otherwise I also can't see my screen. Erase everything. I can't do the lecture until you erase it, because I can't see them, right? I want to clear the screen. Erase this, because otherwise I can't do the lecture. The screen is not clear. Clear the screen, guys. ඔය ලියපු කෙනාටම තමයි මේ ඩිලීට් කරන්න පුළුවන්. මොකද මෙතනින් මට ඒක කරන්න බෑ, මට ක්ලියර් කරන්න බෑ. ඔයාලම තමයි ඒක ක්ලියර් කරන්න. මොකද මට ස්ක්‍රීන් එක පේන්නේ නැහැ. Not clear for me. You have to like erase it. Let me know once you clear it, right? Just 4 participants raise the hand. Any problem? Right. So, in order to have a better work-life balance, you have to practice these things. First one is prioritize professional and personal non-negotiable, right? Professional and personal non-negotiable. That means separate your non-negotiables from other tasks that are not as important. So you have to prioritize what is most important and what is least important in your life. And then you can give the time and your effort according to the level of your priority, right? If it is a most prioritized thing, you have to give your time more and your effort more to that task. But if that task is not so important and you don't need to give much attention to that kind of task, right? So that's how you can prioritize your professional and personal non-negotiable. Private life එකේ ඔයාගේ important දේවල් සහ organization එකේ ඔයාගේ important දේවල් අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම prioritize කරන්න ඕන. Most important ඉඳලා least important වෙනකම්. So most important ටික ඔයාට මුලින්ම complete කරන්න පුළුවන්. Least important ඒවා ඔයාට පස්සට දාගන්න පුළුවන්. Right? එතකොට ඔයාගේ වැඩ stress වෙන්නේ නැහැ. You don't get much workload because you have a proper plan to complete tasks one by one. So that will easy your work, right? And the second one is stick to the same schedule. So schedule analytic or creative thinking during your peak productivity time frame, right? Stick to the same schedule. So if you have a plan, so it's better to stick to that plan because you know, first of all, what you have to complete, and then you have a proper plan or proper path to complete the next task. Right? It's not a plan, schedule. If you stick to that plan, it's easy your work. Right? It's not a lazy or done not මොනවාද complete කරන්න ඕනේ කියලා සහවට ඉස්සරහට මොනවාද complete කරන්න තියෙන්නේ. Right? So that will help you to have a proper work-life balance. And the third one is schedule time for personal odds and ends. Schedule time for personal odds and ends. That means schedule 15 minutes per day to knock out small personal tasks. That means you should have a proper me time for you. Order time so we call it me time. So you can engage whatever the hobby that you like, or you can read a book, or you can do gardening, or else you can go to gym, or you can do anything, or you can do yoga, you can do meditation, or anything you like, right? So that 15 minutes or 30 minutes is for yourself, not for any other one, but it's for yourself, right? And the next one is find the productivity tool that works for you. Find the productivity tool that works for you. Pinpoint your needs and find a simple tool that effectively helps you organize your life. You can use some kind of tool, right? You can have a to-do list. You can have some softwares to prioritize your tasks or to prepare some time frame. that will help you to maintain a good work-life balance, right? There are small softwares to plan your work, and you can maintain a small personal diary or a digital diary, or you can do reminders. You can have reminders, or you can have a to-do list or notes, whatever the thing which helps to have a proper organized work, right? So that's the productivity tool. Then finally, set aside time to declutter. That means studies show that visual clutter makes us less productive. So you can reduce your screen time, right? So you can reduce your screen time and use that time to engage in something more productive, right? Than a mere screen time with social media or something else. So remember to always use your time to a valuable thing, right? So then also you can have a proper work-life balance. So here there are certain myths regarding work-life balance. Certain myths. First one is work-life balance means spending 50% of your time at work and 50% of your time at home. So I always said you, right? Work-life balance is not a 50-50 balance. හරියටම 50-50 balance කරද එක නෙමෙයි work life balance කියලා කියන්නේ. මොන වෙලාවෙදී මොන දෙයකට priority එකක් දෙනවද? Right? At what time what thing you give priority? Right? So it's not a 50-50 balance. So remember that work life balance is not a 50-50 balance. That's the myth one. So the reality is work-life balance occurs when individuals with a finite amount of mental, physical, and emotional resources allocate, and those resources in way that corresponds their personal or professional goals, right? So it's not a 50-50 balance, but how well you can give a priority to certain life events. වැඩ කරගෙන යද්දී සමහරට ඔයාලට ගෙදර ගේකට ප්‍රයොරිටි එකක් දෙන්න වෙනවා. ඒතර ඔයාලට ඒකට අටෙන්ඩ් කරන්න පුළුවන්ද? වැඩ කරගෙන ඉන්න අතරතුර. එහෙම නැත්නම් ගෙදර ඉන්න අතරතුර ඔයාලට ඔෆිස් එකේ වැඩක් කරන්න වෙනවා. ඒතර ඔයාලට ඒකට අටෙන්ඩ් වෙන්න පුළුවන්ද? That's about work-life balance. So if you have a proper work-life balance, you can maintain and you can have a balance spheres in your work life as well as your personal life. So the second myth is women desire more work-life balance than men. So normally in society, people believe that women need more work-life balance than men because they do all the household work, and they have to look after their kids. They have to do all the cooking part and all the household work, plus they have to look after their husbands or the family. So they desire more work-life balance than men, right? So it's a myth, right? Both women and men, they equally desire work-life balance. So the reality is, annual Career Builder survey finds that 1/3 of men would quit their jobs to stay at home if they could afford that. So why people work? They work because of money. So if someone gives you money, they are willing to stay at home, right? If they could afford that. කවුරු හරි සල්ලි දෙනවා නම් ගෙදර ඉන්න කැමති රස්සාවෙන් යන්නේ නැතුව රස්සාවේදී හම්බෙන පඩියක කවුරු හරි දෙනවා නම් ගෙදර ඉඳලා ඒගොල්ලෝ කැමති ජොබ් එකෙන් අයින් වෙලා ගෙදර ඉන්න. So many studies have found that there is no gender differences in experience of work-life conflict. So work-life pressures or work-life imbalance can happen both to men as well as women. So there is no gender differences in experiencing work-life conflict. So men and women, they both affected by non-work and work demands. So non-work demands means like home demands. Demands not arising from your workplace. Home demands, family expectations, and child rearing problems. So those are some of the non-work demands, personal demands, right? And the work demands means your deadlines, right? Work overload, role conflicts, approaching deadlines. So those are some of the work demands for the job demands. Right? So findings in relation to gender differences in work and non-work domains are often weak or inconsistent. Findings in relation to gender differences in work and non-work domains are often weak or inconsistent. So both men and women, they equally need this work-life balance, and they all equally affected by non-work and work demands. Right? So the third myth is work-life balance is synonymous with work-family balance or family support. Work-life balance is not equal with work-family balance or family support. Right? So it has some similar characteristics, but it's two different concepts. So here the reality is equating work-life balance and family support as synonymous assumes only those with families desire balance. No, right? So even people have no families, they still deserve work-life balance. They also want work-life balance. So work-life balance is not family support. Even if you have no family, but still you need that work-life balance. Can lead to backlash to single employees or employees without children. Right? Research on single-friendly culture is a response to this backlash. So the work-life balance කියන එක family support ම නෙමෙයි. family එකක් නැති කෙනෙක් වුණත් මේ work-life balance කියන එක අත්‍යවශ්‍යයි. work-life balance තියෙන family එකක් තියෙන්න ඕනෙම නැහැ. So there's a video regarding how to balance between work and your personal life. So let's watch this, then you can get a better idea.
Let's start by going back, say, 5 centuries. What do you think work life and home life consisted of then? Before industrialization, our ancestors woke up at the crack of dawn and went into their farms, where they took care of their domestic animals and plants. In the evening, they would head back to their houses to have dinner and to relax and recuperate their physical strength for the day. In their world, the things that were defined as work were clear and were done for a period right from dawn to when the chicken went to roost. These included activities that brought food to the table, like tilling, collecting eggs, milking the cows, and making scarecrows to keep away the birds. Others were meant to make the home comfortable, like fixing a leaking roof, splitting firewood for colder nights, and doing laundry so that beds would have warm bedding. Home life, on the other hand, would include the period that didn't have work. So when families assembled in the evenings, the parents would tell their children stories, and this way teach them and pass down knowledge. Saturday men's clubs and family church on Sunday can also be classified as home life, as they provide nourishment for the soul rather than for the body. Granted, life may not have sounded as idealistic as we put it, but the idea is to show that at the time, there was a clear distinctive time for work and time not meant for work. In the 21st century, the distinction is not so clear. The internet has bridged billions of people together and has us connected 24 hours a day, and taking work home is the norm. A global survey done by The Way Ahead in the gas and oil industry showed that 55% of workers in the industry took their work home, and 38% felt guilty when they did not carry something from the office. At the same time, Next Evolution Performance found from their coaching experience that employees in the workplace are 60% as productive as they could be. Essentially, what's happening is that we go to work and constantly check and reply to our emails, do some of the work we're supposed to do, check our social media, and then, with our mind still on work, go home. When you get home, you spare some time before or after dinner to get working on the work you didn't do. As you're hitting the send button on the report you were working on, your email pings. Your proactive supervisor has already assigned you work for tomorrow all the way to Monday. It seems like a lot of work, you think. You shut off your computer, your head fills with mental images of all the reports you'll have to send and the meetings you'll have to attend. With this stream of thoughts, you go to sleep. In the morning, you're back to work. And just as you take work home in the evening, you do the same during the weekend, as your supervisor knows you're only an email away. For example, last Saturday, as you were enjoying beer, barbecue, and a football game with your friends, your boss called. Check your email, he said. There was an emergency, a mistake in some work you did, and he needed it corrected immediately. Just like that, you are back to work. This is why the conversation on work-life balance is important. It might seem normal, but it's not healthy that you're at work all the time. Some of the effects of a bad work-life balance include fatigue and constant exhaustion, increased expectations on the part of the employer, which is why your supervisor can call you on a weekend, increased stress, and a reduction in time spent with family and friends. So how do you balance out your work and home life in a way that's healthy, but still ensures that you keep your job? Begin by finding out how much time you spend in either of these lives. Start a diary, and during a normal week, log in the amount of time you spend doing productive work at the office. Make sure to account for time you waste being distracted, how long your chores take, and the amount of time you spend unplugged. Looking at the diary, what seems problematic to you? Can you see that you spend too much time at work? How much of that time is spent productively? Or maybe your problem is more about the fact that the time you're supposed to be winding down is spent thinking about work. Either way, you need to diagnose the specific problem that's in the balance of your work and personal lives. So, what would an ideal work-life balance look like for you? How much time do you need to spend at work to ensure that all your duties are met? What would winding down look like for you? You can go as far as drawing a pie chart that shows the percentage of time spent doing all your important activities. In fact, you can go as far as getting a key for the pie chart, one that explains what you're allowed to do when working and when playing. Pin this on your desk at work and your fridge at home. Then work on achieving this balance slowly and steadily. One of the main reasons 92% of Americans do not stick to their New Year's resolutions is because they try to chew too much too fast. For you to get the work-life balance you want to achieve, you may have to stand up to a supervisor and insist that they do not call you with work during the weekend. However, if your weekends are spent correcting mistakes in your week's work, you and your supervisor may brush shoulders. So what do you start by doing? Before clocking out on Friday, you could peruse your work to correct any mistakes that may have been present. Then, if she does call you to give you more work, you can very creatively say no. And maybe if your work has no mistakes, she won't call you. It's also important to completely unplug when you're away from work. Turn off your computer and don't look at your work email. Better yet, spend this time checking out what's going on with your friends on social media, or spend time doing something with your kids. You may be important at your workplace, but not so much that the company would fall down if you had a no phone, no email, no any kind of work or calls date night with your partner. Your concentration shifts a little every time you look at something new, and working when you should not be could mean that you're constantly stressed. Self-care is another way to improve your work-life balance by increasing the quality of your off time. Exercise makes you feel good, and this is because as you pump your muscles, feel-good endorphins are released into your bloodstream. Meditating and doing yoga exercises, on the other hand, also help to reduce stress, as they demand that you don't get intertwined in your mind's thoughts, that you observe what you're thinking. What would make you feel good? Going to the salon? Going for a budgeted and planned for shopping spree? Running the track? Lifting some weights? Or maybe stretching it out? Ladies, go to the salon once every 2 Saturdays and get your nails and your hair done, and see what that does for your productivity during the work week. Observe how you feel as well. Are you feeling well rested? Finally, to achieve a good work-life balance, you need to limit your interactions with people or activities that waste your time. The study previously mentioned stated that at work, employees are 60% as productive as they should be. Where is the inefficiency? Observe yourself at work. How much time do you spend on your social media and responding to emails? How much time aimlessly chatting? During your playtime, who do you interact with that affects your relaxation? Why do you interact with them? Could you interact a little less with these persons? If someone or some activities are not doing you any good in either your work or your home life, cut them off. We hope that you can see the importance of balancing your work and your personal lives. It has both an effect on how well you perform at work and the quality of your playtime. The old adage, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy, stands true. But carrying work to play could also make you a dull and stressed person. Thank you for watching us today, and I'll see you in the next one.
Right. So as I said earlier, work-life balance is not about a 50-50 balance. So it does not mean an equal balance. Try to schedule an equal number of hours for each of your various work and personal activities is usually unrewarding and unrealistic. So you practically cannot give equal hours to your work life and to your personal life. So can you give 12 hours for your work and 12 hours for personal life? Right? So it's not practically happen. So what you can do is you have to properly prioritize according to different times. You have to give the proper priority to your work life or to your personal life, right? And the second part under work-life balance is it will vary over time, often on a daily basis. The right balance for you today will probably be different for you tomorrow. Give me 1 second, guys. Right. So the right balance for you today is not same as right balance for tomorrow. ඒකට අද ඔයා balance කියලා හිතන දේ හෙට balance නොවෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඔයාට equally පැය ගාණක් දෙන්න බෑ ඔයාගේ work life එකට සහ personal life එකටයි. සහ අද ඔයා හරි හිතනවා right. දැන් මේක තමයි මගේ work life balance එක, but it can change in the following day. So there is no one particular answer like this is the work-life balance, this is the actual hours in order to maintain work-life balance, like what? So it depends, right? Next one is there is no perfect one size fits all balance you should be striving for. So there is no one batch or one perfect size for all regarding work-life balance. එක හැමෝටම එක වගේ නෑ. It depends. The best work-life balance is different for each of us because we all have different priorities and different lives. So the best work-life balance is different for each of us because we all have different priorities and different lives. So there is no one perfect, one size fits all work-life balance. හැමෝටම work-life balance එක එක වගේ නෑ. It depends. So my work-life balance is different from another person's work-life balance, right? So what I call as balance is different from another person's balance. My definition of work-life balance can be different from another person's definition of work-life balance. So it's fully customized thing, right? And the next one is an effective work-life balance definition has two key everyday concepts that are relevant to each of us. That concepts are achievement and enjoyment. So if you have a proper work-life balance, you can have a proper achievement and enjoyment in your life because you have a proper balance. You know how to give priority to each situation, and you have ample knowledge regarding that. So you can be balanced person while maintaining achievement and enjoyment. So what is this achievement and enjoyment? Achievement means you are going to achieve something, you are conquering things and the accomplishment. So for example, if you have certain tasks to complete, after you fulfill it, that means your achievement. ඔයාට කරන්න තියෙන දෙයක් කරාට පස්සේ එන දේට තමයි අපි achievement කියලා කියන්නේ. And the next one is enjoyment. Enjoyment means your satisfaction. Your satisfaction, happiness, pride, a sense of well-being, right? So that is enjoyment. You have to achieve things as well as you have to maintain a proper enjoyment. So දේවල් achieve කරගන්නවා වගේම ඔයාගේ ජීවිතේ ඔයා ඒවට achieve කරන්න යද්දී ඔයාට happy mood එක ඔයාගේ කොයි වෙලෙත් තියෙනවා. Enjoyment කියන base එක තමයි achievement යන්න ඕන. Right? While achieving things, you should maintain proper enjoyment, right? Or happiness. So normally work-life balance means it's not about work and personal life. So we can divide it into four main spheres: work, family, self, and friends. Right? So there should be a proper integration in all these four spheres, right? Achievement and enjoyment in these four spheres. Friends, you should have enough time to be with your friends and sip a cup of coffee, having a cup of coffee with your friends. It's really important for your mental health. ඔට යාළුවොත් එක්ක කාලය ගත කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඒක හරිය වැදගත්. ඔයාගේ mental health එක maintain කරන්න. And the next one is self. You should have a proper me time to engage in some kind of restaurant, right? You should have a proper me time so you can visit some kind of restaurant as you wish, or you can hang out with friends, or sometimes you can engage in a proper hobby, or you can do yoga exercises or some other kind of exercise as you wish to maintain your self-care, or else you can visit a salon and do some kind of treatment for yourself. So that is also a me time, right? And next one is family. So you can, if you have a family, you can spend some quality time with your family members, your spouse, your children, or your father, mother. You can spend a quality time with them. That is also really important for your mental health. And the work part, you can maintain proper work relationship with your peers and engage in your work and be not really stressful and complete your deadlines on time. So likewise, you can maintain your work life as well. Right. So when we are talking about work-life balance, there are two main views, right? First one is mathematician's view, and the second one is analyst view, right? First one is mathematical view. So mathematical view means a balanced life is one where we spread our energy and effort, emotional, intellectual, imaginative, spiritual, and physical between key areas of importance. Right? Mathematician's view. So in mathematician's view, So here, if this is our life, we can divide it into equal parts. So these equal parts, one for job, one for self-care, one for community activities, one for family relationships, friends, spiritual activities, and for your hobbies, and also for your future plans. So you have equal schedule or equal kind of prioritization in each of these spheres. So it's the first wheel, mathematician's wheel. මේකෙදි අපේ life එක අපි කොටස් වලට බෙදලා එක එක parts වලට priority එකක් දෙනවා අපේ job එකට, personal life එකට, community activities වලට. So that is called the mathematician's wheel, right? And the second part is analyst wheel, right? Analyst wheel. Analyst wheel means a wheel has forks to ensure its strength and balance. Unequal forks can make the ride very bumpy or completely break down. So, not as earlier, mathematicians wheel. Here we don't have an equal number of spheres in the life. අපිට හරියටම සමානම parts වෙන් කරන්න අමාරුයි හැම දෙයකට. Professional life එකට, personal life එකට, spiritual activities වලට හැම එකකටම අපිට equal time එකක් වෙන් කරන්න අමාරුයි. What we can do is according to time or according to situation, we can prioritize things, right? So here it has some unequal amount, right? Spiritual this much, and professionally something high, and social is again low, and other activities high, mental is somewhat, it's like a average part, and physical, family. So here there are no equal number of spheres. So unequal fork can make the ride very difficult, but gives more adventure, right? It's difficult, but it's worth going, right? So that's the analyst wheel. Right? So how to strive for a perfect balance? So that's the next question. How to strive for a perfect balance? So it's not a balance, means it's not a 50-50 balance or a 70-30 balance. We can't tell it exactly. This is the balance in order to maintain a proper work life. අපිට හරියටම කියන්න බෑ මේක තමයි balance එක මේ ප්‍රමාණය තමයි ඔයා maintain කරන්න ඕනේ work life balance තියාගන්න ඕන. You can't tell like that. So it depends on the situation. According to the situation, how well you can prioritize things depends, and it tells the proper measure. Or easy to see so. So here the work-life balance is not something visual or visible, right? This balance is elusive and difficult to maintain. අපිට දෙයක් දිහා බැලුවම හරි මේක තමයි balance එක කියලා කියන්න පුළුවන් දෙයක් නෙමෙයි. ඒක mental මේ තමයි අපි මේ balance එක තියාගන්න ඕනේ. මේ එක දැකපු ගමන් හැමෝටම කියන්න බෑ right මේක තමයි proper work life balance එකක් තියෙන්න ඕනේ amount එක කියලා. Compromises are constantly made with the scales of balance shifting along with the occasional long work day or work assignments, family obligations, or any of a number of life schedule surprises, right? So when it comes to work-life balance, we people, we have to maintain or we have to undergo certain challenging situations, right? We have to make compromises. We have to make compromises. Right. So it's not a 50-50 balance. What we can do is we can prioritize things. And when we prioritize things, we have to compromise some other least important tasks. Survey results from more than 50,000 employees from a variety of manufacturing and service organizations. So based on that case, 2 out of every 5 employees are dissatisfied with the balance between their work and personal life. Two out of every 5 employees, they are dissatisfied with the balance between their work and personal life. They don't have much satisfaction and they are very dissatisfied about their job. And they believe that they don't get proper work-life balance. Right? And they believe that the lack of balance is happened due to long work hours, sudden deadlines, and some critical relationships with the with peers, and more traffic time, so people have to spend more time in roads, change in demographics, like what? Right? So these are some of the reasons why people don't get a proper work-life balance. මේ work-life balance ඇති වෙන්න ප්‍රධාන වෙන හේතු ටිකක් තමයි මේ ටික. Right? So there's a video regarding worst job and no one cares from a BBC story. This is a true video, right? Based on a real story.
I remember I cried. It is the most important job in Facebook and it's the worst and no one cares about it. Every day you will see things that shock you, traumatizing stuff. The headings, child pornography, animal abuse. You become like a machine. With this hand, the next button, and this button, yes or no. So you click, next, decide, next, decide.
What was the worst kind of content you had to see?
I would definitely go with child pornography because you get to see like even a 6-month-old baby being raped. Also terrorism. You see very graphic images of blood and terrorist attacks.
This work is hard, but I will say that the graphic content, that sort of content, is a small fraction of what reviewers might see. Increasingly, we've been able to use technology to review and remove some of the worst content that you might see somebody upload to Facebook.
What effect did the pressure and the things you were seeing have on you and your home life?
I had nightmares a couple of times. I remember one, for example, people jumping from a building. I don't know why. And I remember people, instead of helping the people jumping, they were just taking photos and videos. And I remember catching one little girl and crying with this little girl. And I woke up crying. And I remember blood everywhere and people just doing videos.
What did you think of the way the company supported you and supported your colleagues?
The company didn't support us at all. I think we complained almost every day because we had problems. We didn't like the things we were looking at.
We know it's difficult. We're committed to giving them what they need to do this job well. And if they're ever uncomfortable at work, there are counseling resources for them, and they can be shifted to work on a different type of content. It's important to us to keep our community safe, but it's also very important to us to support our employees and keep them healthy.
So if I was Mark Zuckerberg sitting here, what would you say to me?
A couple of times, I imagined Mark Zuckerberg coming up to the office, and I imagined just telling him, how are you allowing this to happen? That young people like us are having to see these things. We're treated like nothing.
Right? See how stressful the job is. කාටවත් බලන්න බැරි දේවල් බලනවා කියන එකම stressful job. Right? Next one. Need of work-life balance. According to Oprah Winfrey, no one can have everything and do everything at the same time. Right? It's impossible. No, we can do everything and have everything at one moment. So the inability to balance work and family demands has been linked to reduced work performance, increased absenteeism, lower commitment, and poor morale. So there are some reasons for this imbalance. Those reasons are sometimes the work performance is low in organizations and there are certain high levels of turnover rates and the absenteeism rate and lower commitment, poor morale. Those are some of the reasons. Right? And also there are certain principles regarding work-life balance. So before coming into principles, let's write a small note. Right? Write a heading, work-life balance. Under that, write a subheading, how to improve your work-life balance. How to improve your work-life balance. Under that, write balancing your professional and personal life. Balancing your professional and personal life can be challenging. Can be challenging. But it is essential. but it is essential. First off, so write in a separate paragraph. Often, work takes precedence. Work takes precedence over everything else in our life. Over everything else in our life. Full stop. Our desire to succeed, our desire to succeed professionally can push us to set aside our own well-being. Our own well-being. Our desire to succeed professionally can push us to set aside our own well-being. Full stop. Creating a harmonious work life creating a harmonious work-life balance, creating a harmonious work-life balance or work-life integration is critical is critical is critical though to improve not only our physical emotional and mental well-being. Emotional and mental well-being. But it's also important for our career. But it's also important for our career. Next heading, next subheading, what is work-life balance and why is it important? What is work-life balance and why is it important? Under that, right? In short, work-life balance is the state work-life balance is the state of equilibrium in short, work-life balance is the state of equilibrium where a person equally prioritizes the demands of one's career, and the demands of one's personal life. And the demands of one's personal life. Right? Where a person, I will tell it again. In short, work-life balance is a state of equilibrium where a person equally prioritizes the demands of one's career and the demands of one's personal life. Full stop. Some of the common reasons some of the common reasons. That lead to a poor work-life balance include first point, increased responsibilities at work. Increased responsibilities at work. Second point, work in longer hours. Work in longer hours. And the third point, increased responsibilities at home. Increased responsibilities at home. Next one, having children. Next point, having children. Then write in a separate paragraph. A good work-life balance. A good work-life balance. A good work-life balance includes and has numerous positive effects. And has numerous positive effects. Comma, including less stress. Including less stress. Comma, a lower risk of burnout. A lower risk of burnout. And a greater sense of well-being. And a greater sense of well-being. So, this is not only benefits employees. This is not only benefits employees. but employers too. But employers too. Separate paragraph. Separate paragraph. Employers who are committed. Employers who are committed to providing environment that support work-life balance, for their employees, can save on costs, experience fewer cases of absenteeism, and enjoy a more loyal and productive workforce. Right? Full stop. Employers that offer options as telecommuting or flexible work schedules can help employees to have a better work-life balance. Next paragraph. when creating a schedule, when creating a schedule, that works for you, that works for you, comma, think about the best way, think about the best way think about the best way to achieve balance at work, at work, and in your personal life, and in your personal life. Right? Full stop. Work-life balance is less about, work-life balance is less about dividing the hours in your day evenly, dividing the hours in your day evenly, dividing the hours in your day evenly between work and personal life, between work and personal life, and is more about, and is more about having the flexibility, having the flexibility to get things done in your professional life, to get things done in your professional life. While still having time and energy, while still having time and energy to enjoy your personal life, to enjoy your personal life. Full stop. There may be some days where you work longer hours, so you have time later. There may be some days where you work long hours, so you have time later. In the week to enjoy other activities. So you have time later in the week to enjoy other activities. Write in a separate paragraph. Here are 8 ways. To create a better work-life balance. As well as how to be a supportive manager. First point, accept that there is no perfect work-life balance. Under that, right? Don't strive for the perfect schedule. Semicolon. Strive for a realistic one. Full stop. Some days You might focus more on work. You might focus more on work. Comma, while other days, you might have more time and energy. You might have more time and energy to pursue your hobbies, to pursue your hobbies. Or spend time with your loved ones. Or spend time with your loved ones. Full stop. Balance is achieved over time. Balance is achieved over time. Balance is achieved over time, comma, not each day. Not each day. Second point. Find a job that you love. Find a job that you love. Under that, right? Although work is an expected societal norm, although work is an expected societal norm, comma, your career shouldn't be restraining. Your career shouldn't be restraining. Full stop. If you hate what you do, if you hate what you do, comma, you aren't going to be happy. You aren't going to be happy. Full stop. You don't need to love every aspect of your job. You don't need to love every aspect of your job. Comma, but it needs to be exciting enough. But it needs to be exciting enough. That you don't dread getting out of bed. That you don't dread getting out of bed. Every morning. Third point, prioritize your health. Prioritize your health. Prioritize your health. Under that, right? Your overall physical, comma, emotional and mental health. Emotional and mental health. Should be your main concern. Should be your main concern. Full stop. If you struggle with anxiety and depression, if you struggle with anxiety or depression, and think therapy would benefit you, and think therapy would benefit you, comma, fit those sessions into your schedule. Fit those sessions into your schedule. Comma, even if you have to leave work, even if you have to leave work, even if you have to leave work early, or ditch your evening spin class, or ditch your evening spin class. If you are battling a chronic illness, if you are battling a chronic illness, comma, don't be afraid to call, don't be afraid to call in sick on rough days, in sick on rough days. Comma, don't be afraid to call in sick in rough days, full stop. Overworking yourself prevents you from getting better, prevents you from getting better. Comma, possibly causing you to take more days off, take more days off, in the future, in the future. Next point, fourth one, don't be afraid to unplug. Don't be afraid to unplug. Under that, right? Cutting ties with the outside world. cutting ties with the outside world, cutting ties with the outside world from time to time, from time to time, allows us to recover, allows us to recover from weekly stress, from weekly stress, right? So I will repeat it again. Cutting ties with the outside world from time to time allow us to recover from weekly stress and gives us space and gives us space for other thoughts, for other thoughts and ideas to emerge, and ideas to emerge. And gives us space for other thoughts and ideas to emerge. And ideas to emerge. Full stop. Unplugging can mean, unplugging can mean something simple, something simple, unplugging can mean something simple, something simple, like practicing transit meditation, something simple, like practicing transit meditation on your daily commute, on your daily commute, comma, instead of checking work email, instead of checking work email. Next point, take a vacation, take a vacation. Under that, right? Sometimes truly unplugging means take in vacation time, and shutting work completely off, for a while. Whether your vacation consists of a one-day staycation, or a 2-week trip to Bali, comma, it's important to take time, off to physically and mentally recharge. Next point, make time for yourself and your loved ones. Under that, right? While your job is important, comma, it shouldn't be your entire life. Full stop. You were an individual. Before taking this position, you were an individual. Before taking this position. And you should prioritize the activities. And you should prioritize the activities or hobbies you are an individual before taking this position, and you should prioritize the activities or hobbies that make you happy. That make you happy. Next point, set boundaries and work hours. Set boundaries and work hours. Under that, right? Set boundaries for yourself and your colleagues. Set boundaries for yourself and your colleagues to avoid burnout. To avoid burnout. Full stop. When you leave the office, when you leave the office, comma, avoid thinking about, avoid thinking about when you leave the office, avoid thinking about upcoming projects or answering company email. Or answering company email. Full stop. Consider having a separate computer. Consider having a separate computer or phone for work. Or phone for work. Consider having a separate computer or phone for work, comma. So you can shut it off. So you can shut it off when you clock out. When you clock out. So you can shut it off when you clock out. Full stop. If that isn't possible, If that isn't possible, comma, use separate browsers, comma, emails or filters, for your work and personal platform. Final part. Next, final point. Set goals and priorities. Under that, right? Set achievable goals. By implementing time management strategies. Comma, analyzing your to-do list, right? Set achievable goals by implementing time management strategies, comma, analyzing your to-do list and cutting out tasks that have little to no value. Right. So now we are going to learn about some simple principles regarding work-life balance, right? The first one is, at work you can create your own best work-life balance by making sure you not only achieve but also reflect the joy of the job and joy of life every day. So that means in order to have a proper work-life balance, you should work in a happy mood. You should work willingly and cheerfully. Plus, you should have a proper balance in your private life, right? So you are the person who is responsible for yourself. ඔයා තමයි ඔයා ගැන වග කියන්නේ. කවුරුත් ඔයාව සනසන්නේ නැහැ. කවුරුත් ඔයාව සනසන්නේ නැහැ. ඔයාට ස්ට්‍රෙස් එක වැඩි කියලා ඔයාට හිතුණා. ඔයාම හොයාගන්න ඔයාට හොඳ වෙලාවක්. තමන් වෙනුවෙන් ඉන්න වෙලාවක්. දේවල් හරියට කරන්න වෙලාවක්. Right? So if nobody pats you on the back, you have to pat yourself. Right? And the next one is, when you are a person that not only gets things done, but also enjoys the doing, it attracts people to you. They want you on their team and they want to be on your team. So think, if you are a person, if you are a doer, then everybody wants you for their team. ඔයා හරියට වැඩ කරන කෙනෙක් නම් ඔයා කරන දේ ආසාවෙන් කැමැත්තෙන් කරනවා නම් ඔයා වගේ කෙනෙක්ව ගන්න හැමෝම කැමති. එයාලගේ ටීම් එකට ගන්න හැමෝම කැමති. ඔයා වගේ කෙනෙක් එක්ක වැඩ කරන්න හැමෝම කැමති. So that attracts you, right? So it is nothing but giving yourself permission to have more integration between your personal and professional life, right? So you always have a proper balance and proper integration between your work life and your personal life. And also there can be some work-life imbalance. Mostly we can see there is work-life imbalance. සාමාන්‍යයෙන් අපි ඔය කොච්චර work-life balance කිව්වත් අපි දකින්නේ 10ක් ගත්තොත් ඔය 10ම කතා කරන්නේ ඒගොල්ලන්ට අදාළ work-life balance එක නැහැ කියන එක කියන තැන ඉඳලා. ඒකට එක reason එකක් තමයි competition. So because of competition, people pursue more and more targets. They want to complete more targets at one day. So they have no time for their own. ඒගොල්ලන්ට ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ වැඩක් කරගන්න time එකක් නැහැ. මුළු දවසම company එක වෙනුවෙන් තමයි වැඩ කරන්නේ. Right? So that's another reason for repetition or the competition. Right? And the second one is individual career ambition. සමහර වෙලාවට සමහර individuals they have high career ambition. අර realistic නැති ඒවා. සමහරට මේ join වුණා විතරයි company එකට, but they have a plan to become a director after 5 years. So that's impossible. ඔයාට හරිම unrealistic targets දුන්නොත් ඒව achieve කරන්න යද්දී ඔයාට මේ work life balance එක නැති වෙනවා. ඒව achieve කරන්න යද්දී ඔයා stress වෙනවා. ඒ නිසාම ඔයාට work life balance එක නැති වෙනවා. Right? So ඒක අවුරුදු 5කින් කොහොමද achieve කරන්න බෑ. achieve කරනවා නම් අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම realistic target එකක් දෙන්න ඕන. Right? So here, sometimes because of the global economy, people cannot achieve work-life balance. For example, nowadays we know that we are facing an economical recession. අපිට තියෙන ආර්ථික අවපාත තත්ත්වය. මේ වගේ කාලෙක inflation rate is high, right? The things we are earning is not enough to buy household items. අපි හොයන ගාන මදි, උද්දමනය වැඩි. මේ වගේ කාලෙක මිනිස්සු හරිම pressurized වෙලා ඉන්නේ. ඒ වගේ කාලෙක යාර work life balance හොයන්නේ නැහැ. පුළුවන් තරම් බලන්න, පුළුවන් තරම් වැඩ කළ තවත් කීයක් හරි හොයාගන්න. වැඩිපුර overtime කරලා තවත් කීයක් හරි පඩිය වැඩි කරගන්න. ඒතර global economy එක නිසා මිනිස්සුන්ට work life balance කියන concept එක achieve කරගන්න බැරි වෙලා තියෙනවා. Right? So because of that, the longer working hours, because people want additional money, so they work more longer hours than their usual working hours, right? And finally, the international business. සමහර වෙලාවට international business කරන අයට තියෙන්නේ පිටරට time schedule. The UK time කියයි, USA time කියයි. ඒතර ඒවට adjust වෙද්දී සමහරලාට ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ උදේ කියන්නේ අපේ රෑ. ඒතර එයාලගේ time එකට adjust වෙද්දී අපිට රෑක් දවල්ක් නැතුව වැඩ කරන්න සිද්ධ වෙනවා. So that's also another reason for work-life imbalance. Right? එයාලගේ time එකත් එක්ක අපිට schedule වෙන්න යද්දී ඒක හරිම අමාරුයි. ඒගොල්ලන්ට රෑ අපිට උදේ, ඒගොල්ලන්ට උදේ අපිට රෑ. ඒකට face කරද්දී සෑහෙන pressure වෙනවා. ඒතර ඒ pressure එකත් එක්ක සමහරලාට longer working hours තියෙනවා. ඒකත් එක්ක හරිම අමාරුයි මේ work life balance maintain කරන්න. right? So that's about the today's session. If you have any questions or clarifications, you can ask me, but I guess your chat is not enabled. So if you have any questions, you can drop me a message to my email, and my email is dimantym@kln.ac.lk. So that's it, guys. So we can wind up the session for today, and let's meet on another session in your coming week, right? So thank you, guys. Have a great day. Good night.